this is Melanie from Parenting High Schoolers, and I am here today to talk to you about the FAFSA. What does FAFSA mean? It's the free application for federal student aid. Your child or you need to fill this out every October for every child who is going to be in college the following year. And the taxes that you use for the FAFSA are the ones that you would have filed this previous April. So for 2020, 2021 school year has already been filed last year. So the FAFSA that you're filing this year in October are from this April's taxes 2019, and it is for the 2021-2022 school year. So it gets kind of confusing. And there are lots of reasons why you need to fill it out. But the main one is, for the government side of it, is to establish what your EFC is. Now, your EFC is the estimated family contribution, and that is it's a number that they are able to generate from the information that you give. And just let me tell you that the EFC is, from our point of view, is kind of a joke. If my husband and I worked at, jobs that made us a gob of money, and we still only lived on rice and beans, then the EFC might be realistic. However, if we were doing that, both of us working at multiple $1-million jobs, our number would be bigger anyway. So that the number is an estimation of what you should, or the government feels like you should, be able to contribute to your child's education. Now, we have 3 boys, and the number that we were given for our boys that we should be able to contribute is just, there is no way. But the schools use that number also, and that is why you need to fill it out. So it determines the need-based federal aid for students who do qualify for it. So in our case, we weren't going to qualify for that. But it helps the schools to determine their aid packages for your kids. So those merit-based aid packages that kids can receive based on their grades and their test scores, the number or the guidelines that they set are based on the EFC determined by the FAFSA. So a lot of letters thrown out at you right there. But suffice it to say that, yes, you should fill out the FAFSA. Now, the date that it opens is October 1st every year. But that doesn't mean you have to file it on October 1st. Just know that as soon as that date arrives, you can start filling it out. A couple things about that. It doesn't take very long. And you can import your tax information through a tool that you just click on the link once you're in FAFSA, and it'll just import it for you, which is amazing. And it saves you a ton of time and a ton of work. However, I will say that you should still have your tax information nearby, so that when it imports all that information and then it fills that part of it out, and at the very end you're able to look it over, I would highly suggest that you look it over and make sure there are no mistakes. Because we all know that not everything is perfect in this world. And if you are getting merit aid based on the numbers generated on your FAFSA, then make sure those numbers are correct. So you have to set up an FSA ID number, Federal Student Aid ID, I believe is what that's called, for your child, each child that is college bound and or college current, and also for yourself and your spouse or your ex. So anybody that is affected by the FAFSA needs to have a FSA ID. It just makes it all easy. I have it all on a Rolodex card so that each year when I go in to update it, I can just pull up the user ID and all of that stuff. So keep it in a place where you know you'll have it handy when it's time. You can also click on one of the tabs where you can choose the college that your son or daughter is going to. Now, if they don't know yet, let's say it's October and you have a senior in high school, that's okay. Just go ahead and fill it out. And maybe, I believe, when our son was a senior and deciding, we kind of, I think, had it sent to like the 4 or 5 schools that it was going to possibly go to, or that he was going to possibly go to. And it ended up being fine. And I feel sure that even if your child decides not to go to any of the schools that you send it to, you can always go back in and update it and have them resend that. All right. So when your son or daughter gets their financial aid package from the college of their choice, and let's say it doesn't look as appealing as, say, a package that had come from a school they didn't want to go to, I want you to know that you can appeal that financial aid package. You can say, I want more. Can't imagine a situation where you would say, I want less. But let's say your son or daughter got a better package offer from another college. Share that information with the school that they want to go to and see what happens. I'm not promising you that they will come back with a better deal, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Our oldest son had 6 colleges that he applied to, 3 state, 3 private, and he played those schools off of each other big time. He did kind of know where he wanted to go anyway. He just wanted to see how much money he could get. So and this is a great time to let your child, with a little direction from you and your significant other or spouse or ex or whatever, let them sort of take charge here, but definitely be part of the process. Definitely be giving them input. Have them be checking in with their the admissions counselors. And most schools have they have a counselor per region. So, for instance, we have a state school here in town, and there's a person for here. But then they have a person for the state of Missouri, or regionally even, depending on how big the schools are. So have your child be on a first name basis with the the admissions counselor for their college. This is a great time for them to take charge of this process. And again, you can be in the background. It doesn't mean you're just letting go of the reins, but it is such an empowering feeling. I remember when my son got more money from the school that he ended up going to, and he was so excited because he felt like that was, because of him. And in essence, it was. So don't ever settle for what you're given the first time. Okay, so back to the FAFSA. I kind of segued off there, but I just feel like all this information is so important to know. Once your FAFSA has been filled out the first time, let's say once your child is a senior in high school and you're filling it out, one thing to remember is the following year, a lot of the information will already be pre-populated. So you'll just have to go in and make sure, yes, we still live at this address. Yes, this is still, the number of kids that we have, et cetera, et cetera. And that is another area where if you don't look at it carefully, all of these pieces of information that you get from your college, that you see for the FAFSA, you've got to double check, because they could, it could be in there wrong. Maybe you missed something the first year. Make sure you correct it the second year. When you get the package, I think I mentioned earlier, and you think you could maybe get more, from your college, definitely ask, but definitely go line by line by line. We were getting ready to send in our son's financial package offer where he went. I believe it was his first semester, and I noticed a line item that was a federal student loan, which my son did not need. And I crossed it off and initialed it, and he initialed it, and we just wrote a note. We do not need this. But if we had not been checking line by line, we would have missed that, and he would have had a loan that he did not need. So be sure, we didn't even ask for that, but it was on there. So please check every single thing. Another good tip is if, let's say you have a junior in high school and you're wondering, you know, I don't want to wait till my child's senior year to know what he's going to qualify for. There is a website called, well, it's on FAFSA, but it's the FAFSA Forecaster. And I'll put that link below here. And you can click on that, go to FAFSA Forecaster, and it'll give you an estimate of, based on your current income and the kids that you have, what your EFC will be. And all the information that the FAFSA would give you the following year. You could even do it the senior year, like in the summer or fall before October, so you kind of have an idea of what is to come. And another form that you might have to fill out, especially if your child is just wondering or thinking about going to private school, is the CSS Profile. I'll put that link below as well. It is more for private colleges. It's not always necessary, but many times it is. And it's a little bit like the FAFSA, but it's just more in detailed information. There is a fee for this one. FAFSA is free to do. There is a fee for the, I believe it's $25 for the first college and then $16 for every college thereafter. But we did not have to do this. My son ended up going to a private liberal arts college and we never had to do this. But there are some colleges that require it. So another benefit that my son found when he filled out the FAFSA was that his college gave him $1,000 just for signing up, just for doing the FAFSA. That was it. It didn't matter what the FAFSA said. All he had to do was click the box that he had filled out that information and submitted it, and it was $1,000 off his financial aid package. And that's $4,000 over the course of 4 years. So definitely, I'm not saying every college does that, but that was a huge benefit for us. There are a lot of resources that I will link below. I also have a blog post that talks about the FAFSA. So I will link that here as well. I don't know everything there is to know about the FAFSA, but I will say it is worth filling out for all the reasons that I talked about a minute ago. It's not difficult. It takes maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and that's really just the first time. After that, like I said, a lot of it is pre-populated, and you don't have to worry about a lot of this stuff unless you move or something and you need to update an address. So I will link the FAFSA website, the FAFSA Forecaster, and a lot of other things below. So check those out. And I hope you like my videos. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. Thanks so much.